Hi guys, my name is Vishwas and welcome to a brand new tutorial series on NPM for beginners. In this video, I'm going to briefly talk to you about what NPM is, and as we progress through the series, we will learn the basic usage of NPM. Now, if you're a JavaScript developer or recently dived into the world of Node.js, then the term NPM is no stranger to you. NPM, all in lower cases, is the package manager for JavaScript. So let's try to understand what we mean by a package manager. Now, when we have a problem to solve, we end up writing the code to address that specific problem. And if we encounter the same problem later in a different project, let's say, then we can reuse that same piece of code. So these individual files containing reusable code are called modules, and a package is nothing but a directory with one or more modules and along with a special file called package.json, and this file has metadata about the package. Now, I do need to tell you that sometimes the word package is interchangeably used with the word module, so please don't get confused. Okay, now that we know what a package is, let's try to understand how NPM helps with managing these packages. Now let's say you write the JavaScript code to solve a particular problem. So you're the developer A, you write some code, and NPM allows you to publish your code into the NPM registry so that other developers who are facing the same problem can just reuse your code. And whenever you make updates to your code, NPM makes it easy for the developers who are dependent on your code to check for those updates and download them. So that is basically what NPM is. It is a way to share your code with other developers and reuse the code from other developers and easily manage the different versions of your code. So let's get started with the rest of the series. NPM is actually shipped with Node.js. So in order to have NPM on our machines, we just need to download and install Node.js. And for that, go to nodejs.org, and here I would say download and install the latest stable release. So at the time of recording, it is version 4.5.0. So once you install Node, open a command prompt and type node-v, and this is going to give you the version of Node installed on your system. Now I have 4.4.4, but make sure you have the latest version when you install it. And now that we have Node installed, we can run npm-v, and this is going to give us the version of NPM on our machines. And I just did an NPM update, so I have the version 3.10.7, and again, make sure you have the latest version of NPM. Now, using help with NPM is pretty simple. Just type npm help to get help on NPM. So npm help. Now this is going to show you the typical usage of NPM. So it is npm followed by a command name. And the list of commands we can specify are displayed right here. And if you have a look at our command npm help, this is exactly the usage NPM expects. We have just replaced this command with help, which is of course a command listed here. Now something a bit more useful is the -h option on a command, which gives you the quick help. So let's use it with the install command because it is probably the most used command during development. So we're going to type npm install -h, and this gives you the different ways you can use npm install. And some of these, for example, npm install and npm install package, we will be learning about them in the upcoming videos, but for now, remember that there is a -h option and you can use that with a command. Now another very useful command is the help search command. Now what this does is it is going to allow you to specify some text, and it is going to search the NPM documentation for that text. So let me show you an example. So npm help-search and any text you want to. So update. Let's search for the text update in the NPM documentation. So when I run this, it is going to give me the occurrences of this update text. And if you run this help command, so npm help update, so and as you see here, these are the top hits for the text update, and these are the corresponding documentations. So for example, the first one, if I run npm help update, so npm help update, what it does is it is going to open up the documentation on your browser, and from here you can learn more about the different commands. So all in all, npm help, or the help on npm, is pretty good. Now when we are working on a project, we are going to include a file called package.json in our project folder. And using a package.json file has two main benefits. The first thing is that it lets you manage the dependencies of your project. For example, if I'm working on a Node project that makes use of the Express framework, then I can specify the Express package and the version of Express that my project depends on. And the second thing is that it lets you add scripts that help with initial build of your project. Now in this video, let us see how to create a package.json file and learn about managing dependencies and using scripts in the later videos. Now we don't have to manually type the package.json file. Instead, we can use the npm init command. Now I have created a new folder called npm on my desktop and opened command prompt in the same folder. And over here, I'm going to type npm init. And this is going to ask you a series of questions. But the good thing is that npm gives you a default answer to every question. So for now, I'm just going to hit enter for everything. And once you hit enter for all the questions, it is going to give you a preview of how the package.json file is going to look. And now, if I press enter, it is going to create that package.json file in my npm folder. And if I open this with an editor, you can have a look at the contents. We have a name, a version, a description, which is the main file, some scripts, an author, and the license. Now if you want to create a package.json file with these defaults, we can just use the --yes option to skip through the questions. So I'm going to delete this file. So let's see, delete, and then I'm going to go back to command prompt and type npm init --yes. And now, without having to answer any of the questions, it is going to create that exact same package.json file. So if I have a look here, the contents remain the same. And there you go. That is how you create a package.json file. Now, when we run the npm init command, it is possible to specify certain default values that must be entered in a package.json file. For example, for every project that we work on, let's say we want the author and the license to be Vishwas and MIT. So let's see how to set a default author name and a default license for our package.json file. Now, let's go back to our command prompt, and to set a default author name, the command is npm config set init -author -name followed by the string. So I'm going to have the author name as Vishwas. So I'm going to enter, and now the default value will be set. Now we can also set a default value omitting this config keyword. So we can still say npm set init, and this time let's set the license. So npm set init license, and we're going to set this to MIT. So now I'm going to run this, and there you go. The default value is set. So let's verify. I'm going to delete the package.json file, and let's rerun npm init. So npm init --yes, so that we don't have to answer any questions. And this has to be npm. So when I run this, It is going to create the package.json file, and now if you have a look, the author name is Vishwas and license is MIT. So for any project from here on, if I run the npm init command, it is going to have Vishwas and MIT as the author and license. Now to check what are the default values that have been set, we can use get keyword. So the command is npm config get init-author-name, and when I press enter, it is going to give me Vishwas. And again, we can leave out this config keyword if we wish to. So I'm gonna say npm get init-license, and this is going to give me the default license that has been set, which is MIT. Now if you feel that you don't need a default value anymore, then we can delete a default value, and the command for that is npm config delete init-license. So let's delete the default license. There you go, that has been deleted. And let's also delete the default author name. So npm config delete init-author-name, and there you go, the author is deleted as well. So now let me just delete the package.json file and rerun npm init --yes. And there you go, we have the package.json file. We have removed the defaults that we had set. So the author is not Vishwas anymore, and the license is not MIT anymore. ISC is the default that comes with NPM. So there was a quick video on how to set some of the default values in a package.json file. Now when you want to use a package for your project, and if the package makes sense only for that specific project, you can install the package locally in that project folder. And the command to install a package locally is npm install followed by the command name. For example, let's consider this npm folder as our project folder, and we want to install a package locally within this folder. For that, open command prompt in that particular folder and run the command npm install followed by the package name. The package we are going to be installing is Moment, which is basically a JavaScript date library, and this is purely for an example. You can install any package you wish to. Now when I run npm install Moment, it is going to take a couple of seconds and then create a particular folder called node modules in our project folder, and within this folder we are going to find the package we installed, and that is Moment. Now if you install more packages, all those packages are going to be created in this node modules folder. But if you have a look at our package.json file, there is no corresponding entry for that package. And I did mention that package.json file is going to help track our project dependencies, or what are the packages that our project depends on. And right now we don't see Moment. Now to save the package as a dependency in your package.json file, you need to use the --save flag. So I'm going to go back to npm folder and remove this node modules folder so that you don't get confused, and I'm going to type npm install Moment and then just add the --save flag. Now when I run this, it is going to do the exact same thing. It's going to create a node modules folder, and within that Moment, but this time it's also going to create an entry saying dependencies, and then it is going to say the package name, so which is Moment, and the version we have installed. So we have a dependency on the Moment library. So that is what it means. Excuse me. And if you want to install packages just for development purpose and not production, then you can make use of the -dev flag. Now let's go back over to our command prompt and npm install. Now generally you might want to make use of something like a testing package such as Mocha or Karma as your dev dependencies, but they're pretty large, and just for example I'm going to make use of Lodash package, and npm install Lodash --save -dev. So what we mean to say is that this is just a development dependency package, and this really isn't required for production. So when I run npm install lodash -- save -dev, it's going to create within known modules a package for lodash. So I'm going to wait for this to complete, and there you go, we have the package for lodash. But if you have a look at the package.json file, it's going to create a different dependency, something called as dev dependency. And again, it's going to specify the package name and the version that our project is using. So lodash is a dev dependency, and moment is a production dependencies. And that is how you install dependencies and dev dependencies for your projects. Now to uninstall a package, we use the npm uninstall command followed by the package name. So right now we have moment and lodash as a dependency and dev dependency. So let's try to uninstall these local packages. So I'm going to go back to command prompt, and over here I'm going to type npm uninstall followed by the package name, so moment. And if you run this command, it is going to uninstall moment, but it is not going to remove the entry from this package.json file. So to remove the entry, we need to use -- save flag again. So npm uninstall moment -- save is going to remove this dependency. So we don't have the moment dependency specified in the package.json folder anymore. And similarly, to remove a dev dependency, we use npm uninstall followed by the package name, which is lodash, followed by -- save -dev. So right now we have lodash as a dev dependency, and if I run this, it is going to remove lodash from the dev dependency. And if you have a look at the node modules folder, it is going to be empty because both the packages have been uninstalled. Now some packages like grunt or gulp need to be used from the command line, and in such scenarios we would want to install the package globally so that its binaries end up in the path environment variable. So for this example, let's again use moment package and try to install the package globally instead of locally. Now the command to install a package globally is npm install followed by the package name, which is moment, but this time we specify the -g flag. So npm install moment is going to install locally, but when we specify -g, it is going to install globally. So I'm going to run this command with npm, let's get that right, npm, and when I do run this command, it is going to install this dependency, so moment. But now if you have a look over here in the node modules folder, we don't find the dependency, or we don't find the package here. And similarly, we don't find the package in package.json either. We will soon learn where globally installed packages are going to reside, but for now, just remember that in order to install a package globally, we use the -g option. Now uninstalling a global package is pretty simple. You just specify the -g flag with the command you use to uninstall a local package. So since we installed moment package globally in the last video, let's try to uninstall that. So npm uninstall followed by the package name. So in our case, it is going to be moment followed by the -g flag to uninstall it globally. Now when I run this command, it is going to uninstall the global package. Now there are a couple of aliases for uninstall command, so you can specify npm uninstall followed by the package name, or you can even specify npm remove followed by the package name, or you can just specify npm rm followed by the package name, or npm un followed by the package name. But all these commands are going to uninstall a package. Now sometimes we might want to have a look at the list of globally and locally installed packages. And to list the packages that are locally installed, we use the npm list command. Now I have two packages locally installed, light server and lodash, and when I run npm list, it is going to display the packages in a tree-like structure, which also shows the packages that our installed package depends on. So if I scroll to the top, you can have a look at light server. This light server package in turn depends on this browser sync package, which in turn has some dependencies. And if I scroll all the way to the bottom, we should have Lodash, and Lodash doesn't depend on anything else. Now we can also restrict the depth of this tree using the --depth flag. So npm list --depth, and if I specify a depth of 1, it is going to give me the immediate dependencies of light server. The light server depends on browser sync, connect history, connect logger, and minimist, and Lodash doesn't depend on anything. And if I specify a depth of 0, it is just going to list all the packages and no dependencies for that particular package. So what are the packages in our project? It is light server and Lodash. Now similarly, to list the global packages, we are going to use npm list, but this time --global is going to be set to true, and let's specify the depth of 0 again. So when I run this, it is going to give me the list of packages that I have installed globally. So I have light server installed globally, I have npm installed globally, and then TypeScript installed globally. And if you have a look at the path here, it's going to be in users, Vishwas, app data, roaming, and then in this npm folder. So if I go over to this particular folder, see users, Vishwas, app data. So this app data is a hidden folder, and then within app data, roaming, npm, and then this node modules folder again. Here is where our globally installed packages are going to reside. So that is how you have, or that is how you list the locally and globally installed packages. When we work with npm, it is really important that we understand how versioning works with packages. And this is where semantic versioning comes into picture. Now semantic versioning is a specification where a version is represented by 3 numbers that mean the same thing for every developer. So let's try to understand with an example. I'm going to run the command npm install lodash --save so that the package gets installed locally and is also entered in the package.json file. Now when this happens, Lodash is entered with the latest version. So when we use npm install, a package by default gets installed with the latest stable release. And these 3 numbers here, the first one 4 represents the major version number, 16 represents the minor version number, and 1 represents the patch version number. Now anytime there is a bug fix or a performance improvement, let's say, this patch version number gets incremented. So 1 becomes 2, and minor version number gets incremented when there is a new feature, but that feature is not going to break any existing functionality. So 1.6 might become 1.7, or it might even become 2.0, and so on. And finally we have the major version number. Now this gets incremented only when there's a break in the existing functionality. For example, Angular 1 to Angular 2. So there were many changes that broke the existing functionality, so the major version number gets updated. But sometimes we might need a specific version of a package rather than the latest version of the package. So to install a specific package version, we use the @ symbol followed by the package version. So let's try to install npm install lodash, but this time we are going to install a previous version. Let's go with 3.3.0, then --save so that we save it in the package.json file. So when I run this, it's going to install Lodash at the specified version, so 3.3.0. And if you have a look at the package.json file, it gets updated to the version that we installed it. Now sometimes we might also want to restrict to the minor version number. For example, let's go with, alright, I need major version of 4 and I need a minor version of, let's go with 1.4, but the patch version I need the latest. So let me explain to you what I mean. So npm install lodash at 4.14. So what I mean to say here is that give me lodash package with major version 4, minor version 1.4, but the package version, the patch version, give me the latest. So when I run this command, and I needed to use -- save, so let me also do that again. Just gonna wait. Alright, let's do it -- save, and it's going to install lodash 4.14, and then it's going to take the latest patch version, so 2. So 4.14, and in this minor version 2 is the latest patch version. So that is how you install a specific major and minor version, but with the latest patch version. And finally, we can also specify just the major version. So give me the latest package of lodash with a major version of 4. So the command is going to be, I'm not sure if you can have a look. Okay, so npm install lodash at 4 -- save. So when I run this command, it's going to install the latest major version of 4 of lodash. So 4.14.2 gets changed to 4.16.1. So in major version 4, this is the latest version of minor and patch. And that is how you install specific versions of npm packages. When you want to work on some project, for example, let's say a project that you found on GitHub, if you have a look at the README file, it tells you to first run the npm install command. And this is the typical usage, because when you do run npm install, all the packages listed as dependencies in your package.json file get installed in the local project folder. For example, let's say that our project depends on lodash. So if I open command prompt in our project folder, which is npm, and run npm install, it is first going to create a node modules folder within our project folder, and if I go inside, it is going to create this lodash folder, and this is where our package files are going to reside. And npm install is probably the most common command you're going to be looking at when installing your dependencies. Now, we also learned about semantic versioning in the last video, so let's see how the version might be specified in the package.json file. Now, the most common type you will come across is a version with a caret symbol at the beginning, this right here. And what this specifies is stick to the given major version number of 4, but when you run npm install, retrieve the latest minor and patch versions. For example, we might have a version of 4.14.1 during our project development, but let's say a month or 2 later, we might have 4.15.1 or 4.16.1 and so on. So when we do run npm install, I need the latest minor and patch versions. And in fact, this is exactly what happened when I did run npm install. So although we specified 4.14.1, it installed 4.16.1. So 4 was left as it is, but the latest version for minor and patch version numbers were retrieved, and hence we installed lodash package at version 4.16.1. Now the second type is to specify the tilde instead of the caret. So when I specify the tilde symbol, it means to say leave the major version and the minor version as it is, but retrieve the latest version of patch number when I run npm install command. So let's save our package.json file and run npm install again. So when I run npm install, if you have a look, 4.16.1 was our previous version installed, but this time it is going to be 4.14.2. That is because the tilde symbol is going to restrict upgrading the major and minor versions. So only the patch version was updated to the latest one. And finally, we can just have the specific version number, in which case npm doesn't install a newer version even though it exists. For example, let's say I specifically want 4.14.1 and not a higher version. So now let me save that, and when I run npm install, instead of 4.16.1 or 4.14.2, it is going to install 4.14.1. So specific version. I don't need a latest version. So that's how it's going to install it. And finally, let's say even if there is a change in the major version number, I want the latest one. So we're going to specify star. So when we specify star, it is going to retrieve the latest version of Lodash irrespective of the major, minor, or patch versions. So that is it about package versioning with NPM. Now it is essential that we update our packages from time to time so that we can make use of the new features that are available with every release. So to update a specific package, the command is npm update followed by the package name. So for example, if we want to update a Lodash to its latest version, the command is npm update Lodash. Let's also save it to the package.json file. So when we run this, 4.14.1 will get updated to the latest version. So let's have a look. There you go, 4.16.1 was now installed, and package.json file is now updated with the latest version. And we can also update just the dev dependencies. So the command for that is npm update --dev, and let's also save it to the package.json file. So --save-dev. So when I run this command, we have moment, which is a dev dependency at 2.13.0, and that got updated to 2.15.1. So the latest version of moment was installed. Now most of the times we might want to update all the packages, so we can just run npm update. So npm update will update all the dependencies and the dev dependencies. So right now we have already updated it, so this command is not going to make a difference. And to update all the packages globally, we just add the -g flag. So npm update -g will update all the global packages. And if you want to update a specific global package, then just specify the package name. For example, if you have gulp installed globally, npm update -g gulp is going to update gulp to the latest version. And finally, to update npm itself, or to get the latest version of npm, make sure you open command prompt with administrator privileges and run npm install npm at latest-g. So this is going to update globally npm to its latest version. Now I already have the latest version, so if you don't, go ahead and run this with administrator privileges. Alright, that's pretty much it about updating packages with npm. Now sometimes we might have installed packages that we don't really require. For example, in this project, my only dependency is on underscore, but if I have a look at the node modules, I have also installed Lodash and moment. Now this might be because I wanted to test something or experiment with Lodash and moment, but later on I found out that it is not really required. So when I run the npm list command with the depth of 0 in my projects folder, it marks Lodash and moment as an extraneous package, which means to say that I have the packages in my project folder but not in the package.json file. So in order to remove these additional packages, we have the npm prune command. So when I run npm prune, it is going to remove all these extraneous packages from our project folder. So I'm going to run npm prune, and it is going to unbuild moment and unbuild Lodash. And now when I run npm list with a depth of 0, I just have underscore. So anytime you want to remove additional packages that have somehow ended up in your project folder, and you don't really require them, npm prune command comes in handy. Alright, that's pretty much what I wanted to cover on npm prune. I'll see you guys in the next video. So there are a few shortcuts, or npm shorthands I must say, that can help us save a few keystrokes when executing commands. Now, the very first one is creating a package.json file with the default values. Now the command would be npm init --yes, but then this can be reduced to npm init -y. So this is going to create a package.json file with the default values. So let me open Visual Studio Code, and if you have a look at the package.json file, there you go, we have the package.json file created with the default values. Now the second command is to install a package locally. So the command would be npm install, let's say lodash. Now this can be reduced to npm I lodash. So when I run the command, lodash is going to be installed locally in the node modules folder. Let's have a look. There you go. Now to save this package into package.json file, the command would be npm I lodash --save, but again this can be reduced to npm I lodash --s. So when I run this command, excuse me, the package is going to be saved in package.json as a dependency. So now we have lodash as a dependency in our package.json file. Now the next command to save a package as a dev dependency. So the command would be npm install. Let's go with moment this time as the package. So --save -dev. So this again can be reduced to npm I moment with dash and uppercase D. So this is going to save moment as a dev dependency in our package.json file. There we go, we have moment as a dev dependency. Now some of the other things you can do, for example, the -- global can be reduced to -g, which we have been doing all along, and if you want npm --version can be reduced to npm -v. So that is going to give us the version of npm installed. But to have a look at some of the other shorthand notations, you can visit docs.npmjs.com/miscellaneous/config. So here you have the shorthand notations for the different options. Alright, so that's pretty much about the shorthand notations in npm. I'll see you guys in the next video. Alright, the last topic I want to talk about in the npm beginner series is about scripts. Now when we run the command npm init -y, it gives us a package.json file with some scripts. Now this contains a simple test script that just echoes onto the console that no test is specified. Now this is not so useful. So let's create a simple script that is going to start a simple node application. Now I have created app.js, which is our simple node application, and it is just going to log to the console npm script test. Now basically what we would do is execute node and then app.js to run the application. So this is going to log to the console npm script test. So let's write a script that is going to do this for us. So I'm going to go back to package.json and I'm going to replace this test with start. And what are we going to do? We are going to execute node app.js. So when I save this and go back to command prompt, I can type npm start, and this in turn is going to run node app.js, and hence we have npm script test logged to the console. Now this comes in really handy when you are developing projects, and let's say you have created a project and the entry point for the project is app.js. So someone downloads your project from GitHub and they run node app.js, but later on you decide that the entry point is going to be index.js. Now the user doesn't know this, and when he gets the latest version and runs the command node app.js, he's going to get an error. So by having a start command the user doesn't have to worry about what command to run when you make changes. So all they have to worry about is executing npm start, and that in turn is going to execute the appropriate command to start the application. And in fact, if you have a look at Angular 2 code, this is the quick start application. So they have scripts and they have a start script as well. So when I run npm start, it is going to start the TypeScript compiler in watch mode and also run the npm Lite server. Excuse me. So that's basically how you write scripts, and that's pretty much what I wanted to cover in the npm beginner series. So hope you guys enjoyed the series. Thank you guys for watching.